Hi guys, so I'm a single mother by choice, a solo mom, and my 2-year-old daughter has recently started calling me mummy, but also calling me daddy. So in this video, I'm going to share with you how I'm feeling about that. So hi guys, my name is TJ. For those of you who don't know me, I had my little girl, baby Star, at the age of 48 by myself using donor eggs and donor sperm. And she's just turned 2 about 6 weeks ago. And I've been really enjoying my time as a solo mum by choice. And I've actually found it fairly easy, and I've developed a lot of strategies to make it easier for myself. And I've actually recorded an audio seminar series of all kinds of tips and helpful strategies to help you make your journey as a solo mum easier. Things like how to look after a baby by yourself, how to deal with it when other people judge your journey, how to choose a sperm donor, all sorts of stuff. So there's about 23 seminars in all that I've recorded. So it's a really treasure trove of helpful information. It's everything that I wish I had heard before I started my journey. So if you want to get that help, get that information, just go to my website, mybabydream.club, and hopefully you'll find that really, really helpful. I've also created an online private community of women around the world where we're all supporting each other on this journey of being a single mom, solo mom by choice, or having a baby in another unusual way. So if you want to meet other women on this path and get some more support from other women, you can join that community at mybabydream.club. I'm sorry, but I'm filming this video again in the car. It's another random off-the-cuff video, but it's just so hot this summer that it's real. I was going to just stand at this beautiful view and film here, but I just can't get out of the car. It's too hot, so I'm filming here with the air conditioning on. Yes, I am a solo mom, and being a solo mom has some challenges and some issues and some unique things that you have to deal with. And obviously there is no father in the situation, because it's not that I have an ex-partner who I had a baby with. I actually used a sperm donor, and yes, my child might be able to contact this man when she's 18, but until then she really has no dad in her life, so it's just me. So for her whole life she's always just called me mummy, which you would expect, or mum, or mama, or mum, or something like that. But recently she's been watching this TV show called Bluey, which is an Australian TV show, and I'm letting her watch it because it's a really, really good show. It teaches really lovely values. It's very, very funny for me, because most children's shows are just awful for an adult to watch. But this one, actually, the gags are written for the adults, you know, like the jokes are for the adults. So it's really enjoyable. A lot of adults watch it who don't have kids. But I like her watching it because there's good family values, and they always teach a good lesson at the end, but also because it has an Australian accent, and so many of the shows that she could see are American or British, mostly American, which is fine, but I do want her to learn Australian expressions because we are Australian, we live in Australia. So this show's great because it's full of Australian slang and Australian expressions and colloquial expressions and stuff, so it's really good. Anyway, the problem with this show is that the father in it is really the main character. He's very funny. He's kind of like a Homer Simpson, but he's smarter. But he's very caring, and he tries his best. He doesn't always get it right, but he tries his best. You know, he's kind of like the dad everyone wants to have, and he's very real. And I've always worried, like, how is she going to cope watching Bluey? Because she doesn't have a father. Is she going to start asking me, where's my father? So that was always the downside, and that was always the risk. And you know, she has the Bluey house, the toy house that she plays with, and all the characters, and she makes them dance, and she's always playing with them and putting them at the dinner table, and she's really into the show. Like, she watches it for about half an hour every day, and that's when I get some stuff done usually. She never watched any television at all for about the first 18 months. But once I became pregnant in my first trimester, I was really, really tired, and I used to get work done when she was asleep. But I found that I now had to also sleep when she was asleep. So my 2 hours of work time in the middle of the day were now gone because I was using those to have a nap. And at night, when I usually work after she goes to sleep, I was too tired to stay up and work. So I was going to sleep early with her. So I'd lost my 5 hours a day of work. So I really had to get creative on how I could get work done because I work from home. And I found that, you know, sticking her in front of a show called Bluey once a day, half an hour, and also another show, which is an educational show called Miss Money. It's also an Australian show. It's kind of like a knockoff of Miss Rachel, if any of you have heard of Miss Rachel, this YouTube show. Very great educational show for toddlers. This is an Australian version of that, again with Australian expressions and Australian accents. So I let her watch that at some point in the morning for maybe half an hour or an hour, and I let her watch Bluey for half an hour in the evening. So that gives me an hour or an hour and a half where I can get some stuff done, as well as setting her up for a lot of independent play so I can still get some stuff done. But anyway, I had to resort to a bit of watching of stuff, which I was not happy about, but I had no choice. So you got to do what you got to do when you're a solo mum. You know, I don't have the budget to get a babysitter or someone. I just got to keep her entertained so I can get some work done. Anyway, so she started watching Bluey, and as I said, I was worried she was going to start talking about fathers and asking me for a father and why don't I have a father. None of that has happened. But what has happened is every now and then she calls me daddy or dad. In fact, not every now and then, a lot. A lot of times she goes, Dad, Dad. I'm supposed to come running, and it's been going on for about a month, and I'm really used to it now. So when she says, Daddy, I go, yes, darling. Like today, I was changing her nappy. She's looking into my eyes. She goes, Dad. I go, yes, darling. It's so funny. Now, look, some women might find that confronting or upsetting, but those of you who know, who've been watching me well know I'm pretty chill. It takes a lot to get to me, and I tend to have a pretty big picture perspective. And for me, I'm not seeing anything negative about this. I don't think she's pining for a father or wishing I hadn't used a sperm donor or why don't I have a daddy. I don't think any of that's happening for her. I think she just thinks the two words mean parent. Mommy and daddy are just names for people who look after me, people who love me. You know, in Bluey, the mother is quite sensible and practical, and the father is very funny, and I'm very sensible and practical, and I'm very funny and playful. So I'm kind of a mix of the mother and the father. And so it kind of makes sense that she's calling me mummy sometimes and daddy sometimes, because, you know, I do represent both of those things in her life, and I am her mother and her father. That is the reality. So I never expected my child to call me dad or daddy. It never occurred to me that she would, but probably because she's watching Bluey, she is. And maybe she's seeing other people, and maybe on other things she's watching, or just in the world when she's out and about, she's hearing people say daddy and dad a lot. Probably maybe now she's just started daycare, she's hearing it, but it's obviously going to be in her world. But I never realized I would get called daddy or dad. So, you know how I'm seeing this? Firstly, as just, it really doesn't mean anything to her. To her, it just means person who loves me, person who looks after me. Person who looks after me, can you come and bring me some food? Person who looks after me, I need you to change my nappy. You know, person who looks after me, I love you. That's all daddy, mummy, dad, mum means to her. But to me, I'm actually seeing it as quite symbolic, because I am playing the role of the mother and the father. I am having to embody a balance of masculine and feminine energy. And it's very interesting because about 5 years ago, before any of this happened, before I had baby Star or anything, I was doing some work with a woman because I could feel this child wanting to come in, and actually could feel two of them wanting to come in. And I worked with this woman who works with the incoming souls coming onto the planet. And she did this whole process with me where she kind of married me, or not married me, like reunited me with the masculine part of my soul so that I would be a completely full soul. And whether you believe that or not, it was an interesting process. And I just thought, how interesting that I'm now embodying the masculine and feminine fully within myself. And I've ended up on the solo mother path. And now I am playing the role of the mother and the father, and I'm having to embody the masculine and the feminine. I'm feeling quite comfortable doing it. That doesn't mean I don't want a partner. I'm sure one day a wonderful man will come into my life, but he will have to be someone who's also very equally balanced in the masculine and the feminine, who has done some work on integrating with his own feminine side and the own feminine part of his soul. And if I meet someone else who's equally balanced, that would be beautiful to dance together with him. I would love that, two full humans dancing together. But I don't need someone to complete me or any of that stuff anymore, because as I said, I've healed all of that. I feel very complete. So I'm happy to meet another complete human and have a great time with them. But in terms of my own journey, I feel very integrated. And so in a way, when she calls me mum, she calls me dad, I feel like she's reflecting back to me that I have integrated those parts of myself, and that I'm quite a balanced human at this point after 50 years of personal growth work. These are the positives of being an older mother. You've done a lot of work on yourself. Well, in my case, I have. I'm sure a lot of you have too, who are watching, who are older. So it's quite symbolic that she's calling mummy and daddy. I don't know how it's going to go down in public when she starts calling me dad or daddy. That might turn a few heads, but in privacy of my own home, it doesn't bother me. In fact, I think it's a beautiful thing. She's just acknowledging that there's two parts of me operating together to look after her. So I think it's beautiful. But I just wanted to share it because who knows if it's going to happen to any of you who are on the solo mum path, that your child might one day call you dad. Maybe they'll watch Bluey, or they'll watch a show where there's a father figure, or they'll have friends and they see their fathers and they hear someone saying dad, daddy, dad all the time, and they might start calling you that. And you have choices in how you respond. If you get really upset and call everyone and say, I'm so upset, why did I do this to my child? I never should have done this by myself. She wants a father. Now she may not, none of that may be happening for the child. It's just a word. Remember, a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old, they don't understand all that stuff. For them, it's just a word. It's just like saying mummy, daddy. It just means person who loves me. So just take a step back, relax about it. It's okay. You haven't done anything wrong. You're giving them a very loving, stable home. You're providing for them everything they need. You're making sure there are male role models in their life, maybe uncles, cousins, grandfather. Eventually, maybe there'll be a husband again or another partner, or if you're not into men, maybe there'll be brothers and there'll be male friends. Like, there's going to be male role models in your child's life. It's okay. And it's okay if he or she calls you daddy or dad as part of their journey of learning language and learning linguistics. It just means person who loves me. That's how I'm taking it. It doesn't bother me. I think it's really interesting and really beautiful. So I just wanted to share that in case any of you ever deal with this. And if you need any support at all, I have lots of resources and audio recordings that I've done to support women on the solo mother journey. You can see them on my website, mybabydream.club. So I hope you found it interesting. Over here, you're going to see another video, something to do with being a solo mum, being a single mother by choice. And I'll see you guys soon. Bye.